of their life stories. Success against the odds, but achieved through smart planning, risk-taking, and perseverance. For the rest of our class, the theft was one of those moments that flashed across our lives. We applauded, we gloated a little, we shared in the triumph of our classmates. We sensed at the time that this was no mere prank. It was a classic small unit military operation done in defiance of our own chain of command. We also sensed that it spoke to some special qualities of our classmates who pulled it off, as the record of their later accomplishments shows. Many of us, no doubt, wished we had had the imagination and daring to be a part of that effort, and perhaps vicariously we absorbed bits of the lesson ourselves. General Douglas MacArthur, while serving as West Point superintendent in 1922, expressed it this way: "On the fields of friendly strife are sown the seeds that on other days, on other battlefields, will yield the fruits of victory." So it has been for this group of men. Hear their story, beautifully told by my classmate and friend, Tom Carhart. 1. SPNSS 0010 hours, 21 November 1965. I shivered involuntarily, my scalp prickling in the frigid breeze that washed over the back of my head. All 5 of us were cold, shivering, and blowing and stamping our feet silently on the bed of pine needles, restless wild horses while we waited. Off to our left, a half-dozen high-security communication towers soared 250 feet into the sky, each studded with flashing red lights. It was an eerie sight, as they looked for all the world like a row of rocket ships ready to blast off into space. Off to our right, a few hundred yards down a grassy slope and bathed in a halo of floodlights, was the main guardhouse that blocked the gate into the most secure section of the Severna Park Naval Security Station, SPNSS, Maryland. It was a moonless night, and we knew that at the edge of the wood line we couldn't be seen from the road or the guardhouse. But we also knew we were already trespassers inside the barbed wire-topped fence of the highest security installation in the US Navy. We were, at that moment, already in violation of federal law, and we had been warned that if we were seen by either of the U.S. Marine Guards stationed at the guardhouse, they had orders to shoot to kill. We never really believed that, but that's what we had been told by Mr. Acton, the anxious father of one of our number who happened to live nearby. He also told us the story of some teenagers who, weeks earlier, and wanting to test the stories going around about this installation, had intentionally thrown a golf ball over the fence just to see what might happen. To their great surprise, a voice over a loudspeaker warned them that whatever they had just thrown had violated a federal security installation, that they would not be able to recover it, that they should keep their distance from the high electrified fence and stay where they were until U.S. Marine Guards approached them to investigate. The kids ran, of course, but word went around about that moment, and somehow had been, we thought, exaggerated to include the shoot-to-kill comment. We had talked about this in the Acton home. Mr. Acton's son was our West Point classmate Adam Acton, who had started as part of our group, and I could understand his not wanting his son to run any foolish risks. But we had argued we are at peace now, not at war, and they're not going to shoot at us for being little more than off-limits if we went inside the fence. That seemed like pretty common sense to us, and 4 of us had been able to talk the others into carrying off this proposed raid. "Relax," we said. "That threat is almost laughable. They're not going to shoot at us." But at the last minute, Adam Acton and Billy Blake, another of our classmates, had agreed that the danger was just too great, and so had backed out and stayed at the Acton house, leaving the other 6 of us to conduct our raid. And now, having already violated federal law by penetrating the security station's fence and waiting in the frigid dark, I was of a somewhat more sober mien, and began to rethink my words. Will they shoot at us? Really? All 5 of us were wearing jeans and dark turtlenecks, our white hands and faces smeared black by the burnt cork we had